Hey everyone, this is Aaron from Studio 3B. Today I discovered a new technology that I wanted to share with you. I have not yet tried it myself, but apparently I've been living under a rock. Surprise, surprise, the technology that I have not yet tried is Proxmox. I install Windows virtual machines and they just work horribly. The CPU spikes, the RAM spikes, everything. But I need Windows machines. I need to run Microsoft Office. I need to run applications that only run on Windows. I also am a Hackintosher. Last but not least, my favorite of them all, Linux. So what I want to do is take my server, which has a Westmere CPU architecture. Instead of juggling servers all the time, I thought maybe I can try to install Proxmox and see how far I can get. So this is a first look at this Proxmox. I have never even touched it, never used it, and I wanted to take a first look at what this could be. So here's the Proxmox website. I'm just going to go to downloads and I'm going to Proxmox virtual environment, mail gateway, or backup server. Well, let's see. I'm going to start with the virtual environment, download the ISO image, and I'm going to just download it. In the meantime, I'm going to grab my trusty USB. I think I have Gen 2 on this one. All right, Proxmox is downloaded. I'm going to go to a terminal. I'm going to go to my computer. I'm going to CD to downloads. I'm going to LSBLK to see which disk I just inserted. That is SDC. So I'm going to DD IF equals Proxmox ISO. OF equals dev SDC. BS equals 1 meg. I'll do status equals progress. Don't forget to run sudo. Okay, the DD has finished copying to the thumb drive. If I go to disks, so let's go ahead and take out the thumb drive and I'm going to put it in my server and see if I can boot to it. Okay, everyone, so hopefully this is going to work. First, go to the terminal. Once the server's turned off, I'm going to take the thumb drive and I'm going to put it in the R510 server and then I'm going to switch the monitor over and take a look at what we boot into. All right, the server is off. I'm going to put the thumb drive in. And then I'm also going to take the USB keyboard and mouse dongle, put that in the server. And I'm going to turn the server on. There we go. When the menu comes up, I'm going to press F11 and I'm going to get to the UEFI boot menu. All right, I pressed F11. All right, here's the boot menu. Let's see, front USB Ultra. Let's see if I can get that to boot. All right, there's Proxmox. Looks like all you got is an install option. So I have a SSD. In my last video, you'll see that I took the SSD and I put Red Hat on it. Since then, I put Red Hat onto the RAID 10. So this server has a RAID 10 that contains Red Hat operating system, and then the other disks are devoted to other storage. But I have the SSD in there spare, so I'm going to use that for Proxmox today. Okay, there's an end user license agreement. All right, Proxmox, please verify the target installation. So I want to go to the Samsung SSD. And then it'll automatically configure my hardware and graphical user interface. Final configuration will be done via a web browser. All right, the host name, I usually call my host for this server Jet. ext4 file system, dev SDA, and I'll automatically reboot. Let's try that. Okay, this says to reboot and point your web browser at, and I lost the IP address, but I think it's just my typical IP address. I didn't see the port. I missed that. I'm gonna pull out my thumb drive so it doesn't accidentally go there. All right, I'm gonna go to the boot manager for UEFI. This will be really cool. I hope it works the way I'm hoping it works. I want to get Windows and Linux, and it says it supports that. And I also, probably in a future video, want to get macOS installed on here as well. I don't know if that's possible, but I've been told it is. All right, let's go to Proxmox. All right, Proxmox Linux. Now what I'm hoping I could do is take my existing Red Hat installation and just kind of adopt it. I don't want to have to reinstall that. I did a lot of configuration in the past couple of days on that. That would be a lot of work to redo. All right, login. I don't even know if I gave it a username, but yes, let's go ahead and configure. Please use the web browser to 8006 port. Okay, I'm gonna switch over to my computer. All right, it said to go to 10, port 8006. And I got an SSL certificate issue. All right, now I forgot what my username was. I think it's just root. All right, so it is free, but they're trying to let you contribute to their community program or anything like that. Take a look at this. I have a data center. There's Jet, there's my server. There's a lot of different options on the tree on the left. Summary, gives me a status of my server, shell, gives me a command prompt. I should probably create a user, but don't know if I need to do that. So I stumbled across Proxmox. Turns out Proxmox might be the operating system of choice because it's a virtualization software and it is an operating system itself right on the bare metal of the server. And it allows you to install virtual machines and gain more powerful access to the server than a typical VirtualBox installation would. Again, I have very cursory knowledge of this technology and I'm going to explore it with you guys. And I hope it gives you a little insight into what this could be and how it could be useful for you. Before we get started though, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. We just reached 1,000 subscribers and I wanted to say thanks. Also, don't forget to click the like button on this video. All right, guys, so I finally got Proxmox installed and figured out to some degree. I spent the last, day and a half working with Proxmox. I've managed to get several different operating systems installed on here, and it's running like a top for me right now. There are some hiccups here and there and some things I want to improve on, and I'm going to touch base on those in a minute. But for the most part, I can tell you what I have going on. So over here, I have Red Hat, RHEL. I've got the free individual license downloaded and installed here. And it's real easy to get to. You can click the console and here we are in Red Hat. And this is right in the browser. So it has a graphical user interface right in the browser. And that's pretty awesome. Those of you who have experience with Proxmox, that's a no-brainer. You already know that. So there's a summary here and it shows basically all the statistics about the computer usage, the CPU network, and disk I/O, which is very handy to see if you're maxing anything out. This is for the particular virtual machine that you're in. And then you could have the entire server summary right here. It shows how much all the virtual machines are using altogether. So that's a pretty nice little overview. Hardware, this is where all the configuration takes place for the virtual machine, and these need to be specific settings for your particular setup and for your particular operating system, the way you want to run it. Cloud init, I haven't discovered what that is yet. Options, these are more boot options that you could set. Task history is basically a rundown of all the different errors and messages coming from the system. Monitor, haven't used this yet. Seems to be like an interactive way of querying how the status of the VM is doing. Backup, haven't taken any backups yet, but apparently this seems to be a feature built into the system. Replication, I don't know if you could duplicate a virtual machine. I haven't looked into this one yet either. Snapshots, I took a snapshot of my virtual machine and right after the installation, so in case something goes wrong, I could roll it back, but I have not tried to restore from a snapshot yet, but I'm assuming that it'll work. Firewall, I used permissions on the global server. I went to permissions down in here under data center. I added myself as a user so I didn't have to be logged in as root all the time. And I gave myself the administrator role by creating a group called VM admins. And I added myself to that group, added administrative access to that in under permissions. So I go to permissions and I gave VM admins the entire permission tree. So you go to users and then you go to permissions, and there you can see I have all these permissions here. All right, so that's Red Hat. What I did with this Red Hat installation is I installed Plex and Rune on there, and that seems to be working great. I get a MAC address right on my network, and I can assign a static IP address to this server instance. There's an option under options to start at boot, and I said yes. So whenever I start the server machine up, the virtual machine will start right away, and I'll get my Plex and Rune to start without having to come into Proxmox and starting it manually. That's pretty handy. I opened up all the ports on the firewall. I installed my database and everything like that. If you want to hear more about how I did all this, please leave a comment below and I'll get into how did I install Plex and Rune and how did I get a hold of my NVIDIA graphics card using GPU pass-through if you want to find out more about that. There's also Windows 10. I configured Windows 10 to get pretty solid performance. I do have the ability to remote desktop. I opened up the remote desktop availability on the Windows installation. So now if I come in here and click Start on Windows 10. All right, guys, so I have Windows 10 here. I remote desktoped into it. This seems to be a better performance than using the Spice connection, which is still good unto itself. But you have everything you need in Windows. One downside to this installation is that I have it on actual disks and not a solid state disk. So it does have a little bit of slower performance than you would expect from a solid state disk. One other downside is it doesn't have OpenGL unless you configure PCIe graphics card pass through. So I have only one graphics card installed in this machine right now, and that's going towards my Plex installation on Red Hat. So I'm thinking about installing a second graphics card in the server and dedicating it to Windows so I could open things like Rune, which right now gives me an OpenGL error whenever I open it. So let me show you that real quick. So I got this, and that comes from running in virtual machines. Any virtual machine will give you this error with Rune. All right, so that's Windows, okay? Windows is shut down. So now I have Big Sur installed. I did attempt to install Ventura. I was unsuccessful up until now, and I don't know why. It basically gets most of the way through the installer, and then it just boot loops and crashes and things. And I think I have probably some settings off in my virtual machine, or I missed a step somewhere. So I didn't take my time thoroughly enough. I got a little overconfident with the success of Big Sur. Okay, again, I got to Big Sur. I'm in the virtual machine. I'm going to log in here. I'm logged into Big Sur. A couple things. I did not do the post-install steps yet. There's a couple things you need to do to get access to Apple iCloud and iMessage and all those things. One other downside that I've noticed for macOS is that it's relatively laggy. There's no guest editions like Windows and Linux would have. So Windows and Linux have software that you install on the guest, and it allows for higher performance in virtual machine situations. macOS, on the other hand, does not have that support. So it will be a little laggy. I hear that you can get good performance again with GPU pass-through. I don't know if I could fit 3 GPUs on my server. I have 3 PCIe slots, but it's going to be a little tight. So I'll try to do that someday in the future. But again, if you want me to look into getting PCIe pass-through with macOS on Proxmox, leave a comment below and I'll try to get into that in the future as well. But I got pretty far. In the past day and a half, I was able to install Windows 10, Big Sur, and Red Hat, as well as get a cursory understanding of how this Proxmox thing works and what it's good for and what it's not good for. Probably won't be good for gaming unless you're okay with a little overhead, unless you tweak everything just right and get graphics card pass through. Again, I would still recommend for gaming just to use bare metal Windows installation. But for anything else, like if you're just doing general office work in an office environment, you're just using an editor, a browser, and Word and Office and Excel and everything like that, that might work good for you. So try that. And again, kicking an operating system off at boot so that you could have like a web server running, that's another good use case for Proxmox. As a daily driver to use as your desktop, I don't think that would cut it. There's slight performance decreases compared to installing right on a PC, but it's a great way to utilize the resources on a powerful server and get the most bang for your buck when it comes to virtualization. Guys, thanks for watching this video. I hope that gave you some sort of insight into Proxmox. Again, I'm no expert. I just discovered it this week and I looked into it and I picked this up. So I think if I could do it, so can you, and I hope that you could use this in your future projects. Till next time, thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.